So if you're watching this video, it's because you want to learn how to use AI to get your first step into making that $1,000,000. Now, what I'm about to show you today, no one else does. Okay. This is exclusive stuff that I only teach the people that are inside my inner circle. And with that being said, these are the exact steps and the exact things that I use within my business to not get the same robotic, shitty outputs that every single person gets from like ChatGPT. Right? They get someone to write their copy or their emails, and it just sounds so robotic. I create ads, I create video scripts, I create VSLs, I create my own reels, I create everything with the exact things that I'm about to go over here today. So the AI roadmap, if we take a look at the screen here, this is the roadmap I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to show you how to properly prompt your AI so that you don't get the same shitty outputs like everyone else does. I'm going to show you how to one-shot VSLs. So like literally you're going to put in the data and it's going to spit out in one shot the perfect VSL. Okay. As well, I'm going to show you how to create winning ads. So not just any ads, but actual winning ads, and how to actually steal that from your competitors and make it even better. So you're not just copying their exact ad word for word, but how to take what they have and make it 10 times better. That way you can go out there, whether it's for you or for your clients, and get really good results. I'm also going to show you how you can create landing pages, like the actual landing page, all the code. I get AI to write all my code. I know absolutely nothing about code. I can now, because I've done it so many times, I can kind of look at it and say, okay, this is this, this is this. But if you give me like a blank sheet, I wouldn't be able to start it. I don't even know where I would start with it. So that's where I am at with that. But I get the AI to write all my code as well, all the copy on the page, and it's winning copy specific to your offer, so it knows everything. Again, I'm going to show you that today, and as well creating emails with AI, and not just any emails, it's the emails that are actually going to convert. So not just the stupid stuff that people like to say and post. It's it's actual content. Okay, so that being said, let's jump in how to properly prompt your AI. That way you don't get the bad outputs. So that being said, when you're prompting any sort of AI, whether it's a ChatGPT, it's Claude, it's Grok, it doesn't matter what it is, Poppy. I use Poppy AI all the time now, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you guys today. But for example, the software stack is just that. You can use almost any AI for that. If you're doing like copy and any sort of writing, I've heard I know Grok's pretty good, but I use Claude. Claude is like a lot of the time like where I do any sort of copywriting. You also need an offer breakdown. So they need to understand your offer. You need to give it your results. You need to give it a framework to work off of. So you can't just tell it to go write an email with no framework. You can't tell it to go write an ad with no framework. Okay. As well, it needs the angles that you want to target, the different buyer angles, the different buyer reasonings. You need to give it all this information if you want the proper outputs. If you don't, you're going to get the exact same outputs that everyone else gets. So all those bot emails, the stupid sounding ads, you're going to get the exact same outputs as them if you don't do this. So that being said, let's move into the first one, and we're going to talk about the VSLs. VSLs over here. So within the VSL, this is how it's structured. Okay. Now you have your results, your offer, your angles, your instructions, your ICP. So I gave it a whole profile understanding of who I'm targeting, and an SOP about VSLs. Okay. Now, if you guys want this, again, this is for all my inner circle. You have the entire template. I just copy and paste it to you. But for example, so for me, my client wins. So I give my client wins. I say, Mondo went from selling low ticket retainers at $500 a month to closing his first 4 deals priced at $5K, now doing over $150K a month. Wajid went 6 months going course to course, didn't make a single sale. And then he went on to close his first 5 deals in the first 2 months, right? And they were all high ticket deals of 4,000 plus. So that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm just giving my client wins. Then my offer, and I'm going to show you guys this really quickly, I'm going to go in depth, but I just want to show you quickly here. Offer. So I talk about my offer. It's 500 plus performance fee. It's core based, so we partner directly with you to scale your agency. It's consulting or it's that sort of thing. We don't just sell you a course. Right? And what's included, and I go into all the depth. Okay, I'm going to show you guys all this in a later part of the video. But angles. So for me, it's like the chaos to company transformation. The invisible ceiling. So people hit or they maximize their earnings at like an invisible ceiling. They max themselves out. And they also have like an AI angle in there. Okay. Instructions. So this is the entire VSL framework. How does it work? So here's a hook, and it talks about and I'll show you guys all that, but it goes into depth, everything about a VSL, what makes it good, and the entire framework. That way it knows what to copy. My ICP, so it has everything about my ICP. It's male, 18 to 24 years old, making 20 to 50K a month. as an agency owner, consultant, or coach, right? You guys are in the US, Canada, UK, has a young, sharp, and hardworking, but trapped managing every part of the business himself. Okay, so that's essentially who I'm targeting, and I have a bunch of questions here that I give it, and then I have an entire SOP on VSL itself. So let's dive into what that actually looks like. So here we are. This is Poppy. I use it for everything. Now, essentially, like I mentioned, it was a screenshot I was showing you guys. So let me just expand this, and you can see that I have my client wins in here, my offer. So my offer, this is everything that's included in the offer, right? The back channel rev scaling partnership. We don't really do the courses. We sell partnerships, right? I work with you personally. I give you all the ad strategies, all the scripting, help you literally implement this exact strategy I'm showing you today in this video. The VSL production and messaging, ad account management, all the ad strategies themselves, the sales team installation, how to manage sales teams, how to hire sales teams, how to get good results in sales itself, CRM and tracking systems, back-channel automations, funnel infrastructure, offer optimization, fulfillment systems, weekly strategy, and optimization calls, and it's essentially everything. So I'm giving the context to the AI, to which then it knows everything about me. Okay. If you don't do this, you're going to be typing 1 to 2 sentences, hoping that it's going to give you the best results, and it doesn't understand your offer. Right. So I give all this information. Then I go to my angles. So here's my angles. Right. Those are the angles I got. And then I also have the VSL framework. So in the VSL framework, I'm not going to go through all of it, but you get the gist. It tells them everything about how the VSL framework itself works. The ICP. So again, there's over like 30 questions in here. I'm not going to go through all of them again because that's exclusive to my guys. And again, if you want to get access to all this, just click the links below. But that being said, everything is here to get the ICP, or sorry, get to the AI to understand exactly how I want to write this this VSL. So let's jump in and essentially, let me show you quickly. With this, here we go. I don't have to really prompt it too much because we already gave everything. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you. I already gave it so much information, didn't really have to prompt it too much, but I want you to write a masterclass VSL with all the information I gave you on my offer, my ICP, VSL, SOP, VSL framework, and angles. I'm just gonna click enter. So let's take a look here. So from chaos to 100K months, the backend revolution. So this is what it looks like, okay? Now it might be a little bit long just because I didn't really give it like a time. Typically, if you want to keep it under a certain amount of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, you just let it know, right? Hey, if you're a young agency owner, consultant, or coach currently doing anywhere from 20 to 50K a month, but you feel like your business is held together with duct tape and prayers, this might be the most important video for you to watch this year. My name is Dorian, and over the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why you're not stuck because of your ads, your leads, or your offer. You're stuck because of your infrastructure. And I'm going to prove to you that the difference between the guys doing 50K a month and the guys doing 100K consistently isn't talent, isn't luck, or even harder work. Okay, so this is perfect. The only thing I'd really change here is, there's just little things like this, like, duct tape and prayers. Again, if that's how you talk, then by all means keep it in there, but those little things like that change. But the beginning here is perfect, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another guru telling me I need better systems, but here's what's different. I'm not going to sell you a course on mindset or tell you just to work harder. I'm going to show you the exact infrastructure that guys took, like Mondo from 500 retainers to 150K a month, with Jid from 0 deals in 6 months to his first 5 clients in 2 months, and Cameron was selling basic automations to closing $3,500 deals with people spending 10K in ads. So this is literally right out the gates. It's good because it's calling out some pain points, but as well, what it's doing is saying, like, for example, here, I'll tell you the difference between a guy it's 50K and 100K. It's not talent, it's not luck, or even harder work, right? So it gives them curiosity, like, well, what could it be? And then from there, give them some authority. So like, yeah, I've done this before. Here's what I helped, and then we get into this, right? Now, here's where I find it really. This is like the cool part of it, okay? Because you've given your offer, because you've given it everything, it understands your ICP so well that when it paints pictures for them, it's going to target and speak to them directly. So like this, for example, I love when it does this. So let me guess your typical Tuesday. You wake up, you check Slack, 3 clients, fires already burning. You jump on a call with your setter who's confused about the new lead qualification process you tried to explain last week. You spend 20 minutes tweaking ad copy about your media buyer saying, engagement is down. Media buyer said. You hop between Zoom calls, a sales call, a client check-in, a team meeting that could have been a Slack message. You're managing DMs, client complaints, and trying to train new closers while simultaneously putting out back-end fires you didn't even know existed, right? By 6 p.m., you're exhausted. You've been productive all day. But when you look at your revenue dashboard, nothing's really moved. Like, that is perfect. Like, that is literally painting the exact picture of typical people, that I'm really targeting, right? When you're in that 20K to 50K a month, like, you're running your business by yourself. So the outputs it gives you is insane, right? So I'm not gonna go through this entire thing because I want to make sure I give you guys all the information, like how to actually set up stuff rather than go through what the outputs are. But for example, one cool little trick that I'll show you here is this. So because it one shot it, like essentially you could use this with a little bit of changes here and there. I want you to rate this 0 to 100. Okay, now this is a cool little trick that I learned. If you get it to rate itself, right, it said it's an 85. So I'm not going to do it because it'll take forever, but I tell it to make the changes that it needs because it's telling you everything here, what it needs to do. I'd say make the changes to make it a 100. And then from there, you make the changes, and then you have a better VSL, right? So I make AI challenge itself and use itself, the information I gave it, to make it even better. So that's how you write the VSLs. The VSLs are just complete one-shots. I'm going to go over now into the next topic. So when it comes to winning ads, again, you want to use your competitors, but you don't want to copy your competitors entirely, because if you start to copy the messaging, you're not going to have any authority. If you get called out, and then you're just basically making yourself look stupid. So it's really important that you don't copy people. You take their ideas and then you run with it. So essentially, with the winning ads, you want to give it the competitors. You want to give it your Instagram. So I give it my Instagram, how I talk, how I communicate, my style, and from there, it helps me personalize all the ads, as well as my results. Again, the offer, instructions that I want to give it, the ICP, and then a framework along with ad examples. So real ad examples. Okay. Now that being said, let's go over back into Poppy. So we're here in Poppy. Now, again, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, if you guys don't have Poppy, you don't necessarily need it. It just makes your life easier. You can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT. The only thing is you have to kind of, bulk everything together. And that's essentially what Poppy is. It's just like Miro, but, it makes it look a lot more clean and seamless. So again, if you don't have Poppy, you don't really need it. It just makes your life 10 times easier. So I'm getting my competitors' ads, right? It's going to go through the competitors' ads. It's going to talk about all their things there. My profile, my Instagram account, my clients wins. Again, we've went through all this stuff already, but now let's just jump to actually creating those ads. So I'm about to prompt it, and here's what I'm going to say. I want you to write me a masterclass ad scripts that are compelling and attract qualified clients for my offer. Keep them under 1 minute talking time. Again, doesn't matter essentially what you put here, just let it know. Because we have set this up in a way where you give it all the information, you don't really have to do such a massive prompt. So let's go ahead and let's process. So let's have a look here. Again, this is for my offer. So making 30K a month, but your business would collapse if you took a week off. That's not a business, that's an expensive job. Look, I get it. You're crushing it with content, your ads are working, calls are booking, but everything depends on you. Your CRM's a mess, your setters need constant training, and you're putting out fires instead of scaling. I was the same way until I realized the problem wasn't my offer or my ads. It was actually my backend. No systems, no tracking, no real infrastructure. And that's why I built the Backchannel Rev Scaling partnership. We don't teach you theory. We install the actual systems, the ad management, the sales team training, the CRM setup, and the automations that actually work. If you're ready to build a business, instead of managing the chaos, click below. We'll show you exactly how we helped guys go from 30K to 100K months with clean and predictable systems. That is perfect, right? It's really in and out, under a minute. Or it could be a minute, but it's super, super quick, and it gets through the pain points. It calls them out in the first, in the hook. Another one here, stuck at 40, 50K months. The problem isn't your offer, it's your operations. So if you guys know me, typically it's not someone's offer. It's not really the pricing. It's just a matter of fact, they don't have the right systems. You can't track what's working. So if you can't track what's working, how do you know what to do, right? If you have a winning ad, how do you know it's winning? So that's the types of things that I'm all about. I like to make sure I'm tracking those things to get the good outputs for your business, right? The chaos behind this. So chaos behind the success. Your Instagram looks successful, but behind the scenes, it's a complete chaos. I know because I was there. Good months, bad months, setters quitting, ad accounts getting shut down, calling out their pain points, clients complaining about delivery. You're making money, but it feels like you're always one problem away from a disaster. The issue isn't that you're not smart enough. It's that you're trying to scale without infrastructure. Okay, so as you guys can see here, these are the outputs that it generates. I would use these ads. I'd probably edit them a little bit. Again, make it a little bit more of my style of talking. But as you can see here, it sounds like a human. It doesn't sound like a robot. You don't get like that. Oh, if you're a 22-year-old making 40K a month, Do you want a cutting edge system? Like that's how normal outputs come from ChatGPT, Claude, and all that stuff. So you have to make sure when you actually prompt AI, you can get real human responses, and it has that human cadence to it. So the next here is creating the landing pages, right? So I know a lot of you guys, you want to make those nice landing pages. You see big creators making some sick landing pages, but maybe you're just using GHL and like, how the hell do I do that? Okay, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and find a landing page that you like. You like any sort of website. All you need to do is go ahead and take a screenshot. Okay, once you take that screenshot, it's relatively very easy to, and I'm going to show you the exact way I do it. What I do is I take a screenshot. Okay. And then I go into Claude. I always use Claude for this. It just works the best for me. And I prompt it. So we're in Claude. And again, I want to show you guys that all you have to do is take a screenshot and prompt it like this. So this is the screenshot I took, right? A nice screenshot of a nice, nice website. And this is how I prompted it. I want you to make this landing page using responsive code. So responsive just means if they go on mobile or they go on a computer, it's going to adjust the size. Can you act like a world-class website developer who builds websites with a JSON and make this landing page? Okay, so that took light years. But now, as you can see here, this is the output. So again, this is the input. We gave it this screenshot, and this is the output, right? So it looks sweet. And as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see on the screen there, but you can see like the stars are actually like glowing and getting dimmer and then brighter again. So this looks perfect, right? This is something I can use. Look how nice that is. Right? Now, obviously, you got to make some changes here. You got to make it to your stuff and personalize for you. But this is the first step. So all you got to do now is take this code, copy here. So copy the entire thing, go back to GHL, and I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to paste it in here, and then I'm going to hit the I. There you go. Boom. So obviously delete the test, but this is what it would look like. So that's a sick landing page, right? You just got to go in here, make your changes. Obviously, if you want to change the logos, you can just go in and give it the logos. If you literally give it the exact logo that you want to input here, you want to input here or here or here, it will input those things for you. So you just got to play smart with it. Like you got to give it all the information that you think it would need. But like this here, it's sick. This is a sick landing page. Now let's move on into the emails and the last one here. So the email mastery. Okay. Now, before I get into the email mastery, if you guys are a coach, consultant, or even an agency owner that is in and around that $20,000 to $50,000 mark, and you want to take it to that next level, if you want to learn how to use AI and implement it to your business, that way you can do less work for your clients, but get even better results, or even do less work for yourself and get better results. Stop having to hire so many people, all these copywriters, all these people for ads, and actually just do it yourself with the right systems. Then again, in the back channel rev scaling system and the back channel rev scaling inner circle, essentially what we do is we have 3 group calls every single week. In those group calls, we go over absolutely everything. So it's not just a regular group call where you get your maybe one question answered, or you wait 40 minutes and you get a question answered. With me, I take every single call. I hop on every single call. I go through every single question, because I was once in your step or in your position where you get into these group calls, you buy into these massive programs, and you don't get the chance to actually speak with the person you bought for, right? For me, everything is talking to me as well. You get one-on-one once a week with myself, where you go over your clients' results, your clients' funnels, your results, your ads, your clients' ads, all that stuff, and essentially help you scale. So if your clients are getting results, that means you're not getting paid. And if you're not getting paid, well, then I'm not getting paid. And that's just how it essentially works. As well, you get access to all the ad strategies, the ad frameworks, the SOPs, offer creation, the AI masterclass, just like this, but much, much more. All my templates, all my CRMs, SOPs, and systems, automations, everything to do with success inside your agency, coaching, or consulting business, I give to you. Okay, so that being said, all those links will be down below, but let's get into the last point here in the email mastery. So when it comes to email mastery, very similar to everything else, as you guys seen, but first thing we want to do is give it a goal. So what's the goal of these emails? Okay, so these emails are for a real estate launch sequence that will be warming up people for the webinar at 8 p.m. on Sunday. Okay, so give it a goal. You can get a lot more in depth. You can say this is for a real estate offer where I teach people how to do X, Y, Z, and this is the guarantee we have, blah, 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 right? You can get more context. From there, email example. So you give it templates and examples of emails. You give it your ICP, and you also give it an SOP on how to create the perfect email. Okay, so that being said, let's move over into Poppy. So here we are. We're in the email template. With that being said, essentially, again, you give it a goal for your emails. Then you talk about, or sorry, you give it the framework, right? So these are the frameworks. I'm not going to go in all of those, but you give it the ICP context. So, essentially, I might confuse it here because I'm giving it one thing and it's going to tell the ICPs in next. So I'm not sure what the output's going to be for this. And then as well, an email SOP. So entire email SOP on how to create the perfect email. So this is the prompt. I want you to take on the role of a masterclass email copywriter and make a perfect email sequence that not only does reminders, but gives a free value in game for people, gives free value in game to people first. So that is essentially what I'm going to write. Let's just look at the outputs. Here we are. Here is so for the first one, the system that took me from 23K to 47K in 31 days. Most agency owners think scaling means more ads, more context, more hustle. That's exactly what kept me stuck at 23K for 8 months straight. Then I discovered what the top 1% of the young founders actually do differently. They don't scale the front end, they engineer the back end. Here's the 3-part system that took me from 23K to 47K in 31 days. So part number 1, the qualification firewall. Part number 2, the predictable pipeline. Part number 3, the leverage multiplier. Let's go to the next one. I've hired 6 setters in 4 months. They all quit or suck. Sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you about setters. The problem isn't your setters, it's your system. I used to blame bad hires too. Then I realized something. Every setter I hired followed the same broken process. That's when I discovered the real reason setters fail. Okay? And I give value. No clear qualification criteria, 0 feedback loop, and manual everything. Right? So I'm giving them value along with the reminders. And as you can see as we go down here, a real example, the difference, and then again the reminder. So these emails are all, I would use these emails. I would literally use them. Probably obviously change around the numbers to make sure it's personalized to me a little bit more. So that being said, guys, this is the types of copy. I went over the VSLs, I went over the ads, went over landing pages, I went over emails. Those are like the main things within your business that you're going to essentially need the most help with. Those are the most consistent things. You need to be constantly updating emails depending on the season. Maybe your clients, for example, if you have a local business client, they probably change in the seasons, right? They probably don't get as much business, or their business changes a little bit and they offer different services. With stuff like that, if you can use AI and if you can use the exact templates that I'm giving you here, you will not have to spend hours on end thinking and typing. Oh my God, does this VSL work? Does this not work? Everything's already going to be set up and laid out for you. You can one-shot VSLs. If you need your clients to do stuff and film things, you can one-shot. If you need them to film ads, you can one-shot those. With the right inputs, the outputs are 10 times better. And this is what's going to set you apart from any sort of competitors that are in the same industry as you. This is literally what I use to write all my VSLs, like I mentioned, all my emails, all my ads. So if you guys start to see my ads, they're all AI. Right? Now, again, I do put my own spin on things to make it have that more of a human cadence. It already sounds like a human, but I like to have my own little spin off. Sometimes when I'm filming, I will just start running off on a sentence to make it sound more of like my style, right? So again, there's so many things that you can do and to see success, but if you aren't using AI, you guys are so behind. If you're doing everything yourself, if everything's manual, you are so far behind. You need to catch up with the times. You need to learn how to implement AI, just how I am here. So again, guys, if you want to learn how to implement AI, if you want to scale your agency that's already doing, or your agency coaching or consulting business that's already doing 20 to 50,000, you want to scale to that next level, then all you need to do is click the link below, fill out the quick form, and book a call. And I personally will take that call because I know guys like yourself that come from YouTube, you're qualified, right? There's no sense in passing you off to someone else. I know you just want to answer, or you want a couple questions answered before you move forward. So that being said, again, you guys get one-on-one coaching call, or not coaching call, but one-on-one session every single week with myself. If you need another, I'm not the type of guy that says, nope, no, you already had one, you can't have another one. Man, I jump on with my guys at 8 o'clock at nighttime just to make sure that you guys get what you need. If you need to launch ads, we're going to go ahead and launch ads when we need to. As well, you get 3 coaching group calls where it's small groups. It's not like 50 people in one call and you can't get your question answered. I answer everyone's questions before we move on. And as well, we go over actual lessons. So it's not like you're just joining the call just to join the call. I go over lessons on fulfillment, on ads, different ad strategies, the new market, in-market updates, everything that I learn, I update you guys. So for example, most recent one was the Andromeda update on Meta. You can't just run a bunch of different hooks with one body anymore for ads. You need a bunch of different style of ads. So again, it's just little things like that. But as well, you guys get all my ad strategies, SOPs, all my systems, entire snapshot for GHL if you use GHL, emails, how to write all the AI, all these templates. You get everything, right? There's too much for me to kind of go over, but that being said, again, guys, if you are in that $20,000 to $50,000 a month mark, again, click the link down below and book a call. I'll personally take that with you. Other than that, make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.